Wow, wow, wow. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about just after one preseason game for the Bulls, but a lot of positive stuff. I'll just state that I was not expecting to even do a preseason post-game show. I did not plan to even talk about preseason until after it was over, but I'm here talking after the first game because I want to talk about Bulls basketball. But welcome back to the TheSlamDuncan YouTube channel. I want to talk about the Bulls' first preseason game and a win over the Cavaliers, which was an absolute blowout. A lot of positives. I mean, defense was on point. We saw a bunch of ball handling by multiple guys. Bulls played in transition. Assists were at an all-time high. Shooting was off the charts. It was just a great game overall. But again, though, it is preseason. So I just want to kind of touch some things that I think kind of went under the radar. I did keep the game. Oh, whoops, sorry. I did keep the game up here. You can't even see it actually. Hold on, maybe nope. You can't see it actually because I guess I'm gonna get copyrighted. But I had a clip I wanted to show you guys. Unfortunately, you can't see it because it's from YouTube TV, but that's okay. But I want to kind of just talk about some stuff that went under the radar. I sent out a tweet about some things that went under the radar. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, go ahead and do that. You can see it live. But there's some things already that you can kind of already pick from a preseason game that are going to be applied into a regular season game. So we're going to kind of break this down a little bit. But I want to kind of just start off by saying Javonte Green. Javonte Green had an incredible game. Unfortunately, the score doesn't show the box score right now, but Javonte Green had 4 blocks. I think he had multiple steals as well, and he came in. He was in the starting lineup for Patrick Williams, and he's a 6'4" guard, and he's down there playing the power forward position, and he is absolutely bodying guys that are 7 inches taller than him. Javonte Green was incredible tonight. He got the defense rolling. He was a spark plug tonight. And this is something that I didn't expect because, you know, when it was initially announced that it was Javonte Green starting, I was like, oh, this is good because I would like to keep Caruso in the second unit and play with the second unit guys because that's going to be his role. But with Javonte Green, we don't really know. He's a guy that, you know, we kind of came in and we're like, oh, we don't know what he's going to actually be. To see him play very well, I think it's almost fair to say that he's going to be in the rotation this year just from this one game. So awesome job by Javonte Green. I feel very comfortable having him or DeRozan be the 4, whichever one it is at the 4. But Javonte Green can definitely guard 1 through 4 easily, just from his pure effort and his athleticism. So I was very happy to see Javonte Green play so well. Want to talk about transition a little bit here. The Bulls very clearly were trying to play with pace, and this is what you brought Lonzo Ball in for, right? Is that you want to push the ball as fast as possible. Even though you have a Nikola Vucevic who isn't that fast, the other guys around him can push the ball, right? And a couple things went into this that people aren't like putting together just yet, and that's okay because, you know, it's one game. It's a lot to take in. But if you remember last year with the Chicago Bulls, there was a major question of who the heck is the ball handler on this team, right? I mean, Satoransky, he's a pretty decent ball handler, but you would almost argue that Satoransky with his size that he should be more of like a 2-guard, right? Or maybe a wing player. But he was a decent ball handler, but like he's not, you know, special. He's not anything special, right? Zach LaVine was obviously a ball handler, but I mean, he's the main offensive guy. He's an all-star, right? That made sense. But after that, you were like, Kobe White, he's loose with the ball. Denzel Valentine, obviously, we don't want him handling the ball that often, right? A lot of times, the third ball handler was Thaddeus Young, right? And that's not exactly ideal. Now, while Thaddeus Young can do that, it's just like, you know, we don't need Thaddeus Young to always be handling the ball or always being, you know, in the high post initiating the offense, right? But we saw in this game that the Bulls definitely, and shout out to AK and Mark Eversley, they addressed the ball handling issue in just one offseason, right? The turnover issues were so bad last year because the Bulls did not have that many ball handlers out on the court. But in just this game, you saw every single person that's going to be handling the ball, besides Kobe White and Patrick Williams, obviously, who are injured right now. But that's a good thing, right? You got to see that Lonzo Ball, you got to see LaVine, DeRozan, Caruso. Javonte Green can also handle it at times as well. And I would assume it was also another person that can handle it. Like, we saw everybody handle the ball, and there was a lineup that finished the second quarter for the Bulls where it was basically the starting lineup, except you replace Javonte Green with Alex Caruso. And that's legitimately 4 ball handlers out there, right? And that's just a push it type of lineup. But just play fast, get out on a fast break. But it was awesome just to see that you have all these guys now that you can trust handling the ball. It's not just going to be 2 guys or 1 guy that you can trust. It's like it's multiple guys, and you can have them all play together. You can have them in all different units. I apologize, my phone's vibrating. But just kind of looking at some of these stats here, I mean, we see the 36 assists, but the main thing is also the 9 turnovers, right? Now, I want to point out, this Bulls team last year, usually under Billy Donovan's system, like the team's always going to be a very good passing team. And last year, the Bulls team was very good at passing. You know, it's something that went under the radar with this Bulls team. So everyone was like, a lot of people were saying the offense was stagnant and that there's no ball movement. I disagree about that last year, because I do think this Bulls team last year was actually a very good passing team. But now add in that you do not have all these turnovers happening, you're going to see the assists skyrocket now. So that's a great thing to see, obviously. Second thing I want to talk about, which involves all these ball handlers, right, is that all these guys that are playing, they're all 6'4" and taller, and they're, we got a lot of good defenders on this team as well. The defense is obviously a question mark for this team, but, I think it's just one game, we see how this Bulls team is going to defend. First off, Vucevic looks much better, and it's because he finally had a training camp to get acclimated to the system, right? He got a bunch of practices in, so now he knows what to do. So he's helping out confidently. He understands the drop coverage, right? But a couple of things went into this, and one of them is the point of attack defense. The point of attack defense with Lonzo Caruso and Javonte Green, like, it's already better. That itself is going to make Vucevic look so much better on defense, because the point of attack defense, which is the perimeter guards, they're playing as hard as possible on defense, right? So it's not going to leave Vucevic out to dry playing a 2v1 situation. You're going to have the guards helping out Vucevic. But we saw 1 through 4, the Bulls were willing to switch anything, right? We saw the Bulls willingly put Alex Caruso on Lauri Markkanen in a switch situation, right? Alex Caruso can guard a dude like Markkanen. Now, he can't guard a dude like Anthony Davis, right? But he can guard bigger guys that play on the perimeter. So we have no issue switching that 1 through 4. Not to mention that when you put DeMar DeRozan or even Patrick Williams at the 4, they can switch on to the guard. So this Bulls team's length and versatility was just full on display in this game. The 13 steals, everyone was in the passing lanes tonight, which was great to see. And the blocks were a lot of help side defense. I mentioned Javonte Green, but Javonte Green's help side defense was incredible. But I want to talk about that for a second as well. I wish I had film, but unfortunately, YouTube highlights don't come out until a little bit later. But with Javonte Green, the Bulls' defensive scheme tonight was this: if there was a pick and roll at the top of the key, you saw the normal drop coverage happening, right? But there wasn't really much help from either side. Neither the weak side or the strong side came over to help, right? But what the Bulls did and made sure is that the guard that got screened, which is usually Green, Caruso, Lonzo, they had to fight over that screen, which is something we did not see at all last year, right? They had to fight over that screen, right? So once they fought over that screen, it made it so it's not a 2v1 situation anymore against Vucevic, right? And so they allowed the guard to get into deep position, but then they met Vucevic, right, once they hit the free throw line. So the guard really can't do too much because they don't have the big man coming down the lane yet, because the guard got over the screen pretty quickly. So once the Cavs guard saw Vucevic in their sight, I mean, we're basically saying, hey, take the mid-range. But if they didn't take the mid-range, they were just passing it up. And once they made that pass, then the guard that was initially guarding the Cavs guard, which Caruso, whoever, they went back onto their man, and Vucevic went back onto the big man. That was the top of the key defense. So that's, good to see that they got that all figured out pretty quickly, right? Now, the defense, though, for the pick and roll changed on the wing. So when it was a wing pick and roll, right, so they load up the weak side with most of their players, and you just had the pick and roll between one guard and one big man on one side, then you saw that no matter what happened, right, it's still more of a drop coverage still, but you saw then the weak side was immediately rotating over. And there were times also where we saw the blitz coverage come in, but it was still, no matter what happened, even if it was a drop or it was a blitz on the wing side pick and roll, you still saw the help side from the weak, or the help from the weak side defense come on over, and that's where Javonte Green, Lonzo Ball, Caruso, they got all of their steals or blocks because they were coming in and breaking up the pass down to the big man, and that's very good to see in just the first preseason game, because that's now established, right? That's to be stuck in their head from here on out, and that's the importance of a training camp, right? Vucevic didn't really know what to do when he first got here because he got traded in the middle of the season. Now, all these new guys, including Vucevic, who's been here for the half the season before, they know what they're doing because they had the training camp to go through it, right? So that was incredible to see. One more thing about the whole guard play, which has been kind of the topic of this video. Cody Westerland tweeted this out, saying that when the starters all came out, which is about, I think Lonzo Ball was the last one to exit, which was about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. The Bulls had 26 assists and 4 turnovers. That was big for this Bulls team. And I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about that you have all these ball handlers out on the court. This is what we're talking about, and notably, Alex Caruso had 10 assists tonight coming off the bench. So just knowing that you have Caruso in that second unit and he's running that second unit, right, that is just such a luxury. So when all the other guys come off, the starters come out, you still have Caruso who can run the offense. That's just such a good feeling, right? A couple other things I want to talk about, which is what I tweeted out here. I mentioned this already with the Vucevic defense. And that... I think, is going to be something we're really going to see a difference in this season. But DeMar DeRozan's playmaking tonight. Now, DeRozan didn't shoot it very well, but that's okay. I saw a lot of shots tonight that I'm like, oh, that usually goes in, but they were short, and it's the first preseason game, right? A lot of short shots, though, tonight. So I guess, guys, they might be a little bit tired, but that's okay. But DeRozan's playmaking tonight was absolutely incredible. Now, he doesn't get it always in the box score, but his playmaking is just absolutely on point. Now, not trying to hate here, but there are some people that kind of came after me when I was kind of saying, hey, Lonzo Ball isn't really that playmaking type of guy, right? That's the reason why DeRozan was so important to get, because he is a playmaker in the half court. He's the guy who's going to draw the defense and kick it out to the open guy. Lonzo, he's a very good ball handler, but he is very, very effective in transition. That's where he's at his best. He's not that good in the half court game, right? But we saw with Lonzo tonight how good he is in transition, right? But with DeRozan, we saw a lot of just he came off a flare screen into the mid-range area, but just from that action alone, you see the defenses are gravitating towards DeRozan. So once he catches that ball, he has a direct line drive towards the rim, and the defense collapses. He was kicking it out to guys in the corner, notably Troy Brown Jr., who hit a bunch of corner threes today. That was DeMar DeRozan at its finest, and that's what DeRozan's become in his time in San Antonio. He isn't the 27-point per game scorer that we saw in Toronto, but in San Antonio, he became that guy who is really good at initiating and playmaking within a half-court set. And we saw that tonight. And to go along with this DeRozan playmaking point here, this is what I really wanted to tweet out. This is one of the biggest things I saw tonight. Now, DeRozan's playmaking was mostly out of mid-range, but also the post area. We saw DeMar DeRozan get thrown out into the low post. And unfortunately, I can't show you guys this. I really wish I could, because this was a low post play that the Bulls ran for DeRozan. But with DeRozan, you saw him down in low post, but the guy that we did not see get any low post touches tonight was really Nikola Vucevic. Vucevic only had one post touch tonight. And I'm talking about low post, right? But the Bulls are using Vucevic more in the high post so that he is the pick and roll guy, but he's also, he can facilitate from the high post. But the main thing that you're doing with Vucevic, playing more at the top of the key area and the elbow than down on the block, is that this allows the Bulls to space the floor better. One of the things that a lot of people were talking about when the Bulls signed DeRozan was that the spacing is going to be all screwed up and everything. I'm like, I completely disagree with that right off the bat, because DeRozan, even though he's only a mid-range shooter, just the fact that he can shoot from mid-range, it extends the defense enough, right? But what Billy Donovan has figured out is that the Bulls, if they put Vucevic out more towards the perimeter, This opens up the floor for DeRozan to work down the low block, right? So now instead of forcing DeRozan to become a shooter, which you should never do in the NBA, like you should never force a guy to become someone that they aren't. You're putting DeRozan down on the low block where he is very effective and probably at his best. And this is where a bunch of the playmaking came from him tonight. And you're allowing Vucevic to be the spacer. Vucevic, most of his shots were off of catch and shoot opportunities off the top of the key, 18 feet from the elbow, right? That's where we saw Vucevic tonight. And he is a very effective player from there. But this, just his shooting ability alone fixes this whole, concerning about the spacing issue with DeRozan not being a three-point shooter. That is gone now because of Vucevic's shooting ability and Donovan's ability to understand that, I can put Vucevic up at the top of the key, and so we don't have to worry about DeRozan being, a corner three-point shooter. We can put him down on that low block, have Vucevic be the shooter instead. That is just great coaching from Billy Donovan and understanding his players and KYP, know your personnel. So that's all I have for you guys after this incredible game by the Bulls to start off the preseason. I know it's preseason, but we saw tonight all these different things that Karnisovas has fixed on this team. And I am very, very happy to see it. And I can't wait until Patrick Williams and Kobe White get back because now we're really talking about a team that has even more ball handlers, even more versatility, and more defense on the front line. So, great game by the Bulls tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think about me kind of live streaming, while the game's going on. So, being with me and me talking during the game, or potentially me doing post-game live streams as well so I can interact with you guys. But just leave those comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.